The advice and opinions expressed by Dr. Granpeesheh and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism.
Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen. Okay, I want to get to a question that somebody wrote in. How about challenging behavior? How can I get my son to stop pulling my hair and his little sister's hair? Oh. He is deeply impacted, nonverbal, and does not understand that he is hurting us.
Yeah, so this is you know, again, that's why I always want to be very careful about the advice I give, because we don't know the level of functioning of the children.
Yeah.
If it's a child who has the ability to understand cause and effect, it's one thing because you can start to explain that to them. But
right.
when it's a child who doesn't have the concept of cause and effect and is just, then it's a rule. Then it's just not, it's just a behavior that is not allowed. You don't need to go into why it's not allowed, because the child really just won't understand that. And it's really a very simple, if you do this, you will not get a reinforcer, but if you do something else, you will. And that's, I'm really glad that question came up, because I want to talk a little, like what we've not talked about this entire hour is the function of challenging behavior. And the topic today was challenging behavior and what does it happen. And so I do want to just do a 2-minute quick kind of review of how, as behaviorists, we look at challenging behavior. This might be an example of that.
Yeah.
So when something happens that is a challenging behavior, no matter, and we define challenging behaviors as things that are challenging to others and to oneself. Yeah. So this could be, you know, hitting, biting, spitting at, pushing, grabbing an object to someone else or to ourselves, or running away, like all these types of behaviors that are challenging.
Right.
The first thing we do as behaviorists is we ask, why is that behavior occurring? What is the reason for this behavior? And all behaviors are controlled by things that occur before them and things that occur after them, all behaviors. So including challenging behaviors. So there's always an antecedent and a consequence. And these two things, the antecedent and consequence, are the reason for that behavior occurring, right? They maintain that behavior. Challenging behaviors for parents, the first thing you have to do is think, this is communication. When a challenging behavior happens, the very first thing you do is you ask yourself, what is my child trying to communicate? What is my child trying to communicate? If my child had language, what would he be saying instead of doing this behavior? The way we find the answer to that is to list all the antecedents, things that happen right before it, and list all the consequences, and then kind of look at how they're interacting with that challenging behavior and why that behavior is happening. I'll make it really, really simple and say there's just 2 reasons that challenging behaviors happen. Either we want to gain access to something, or we want to avoid something. All human behavior. You want to get something or avoid it. The things that you might want to get are an object, a toy, attention, being able to run outside in the playground, a food, watching TV, all the things we want to get, right? And for instance, you might grab a toy because you want to get that toy. You might push a child because he's standing in front of the TV that you want to watch. You might bite someone because you want their attention. So this is all stuff that you want to get, or stuff that you want to avoid. So for example, I'll ask you to do something and the child will scream, tantrum because they're trying to avoid doing that behavior.
Or run out of the school.
Or run out of the school because they want to avoid that situation. Yeah. So it's always about trying to get something, which is usually an object, an activity, or attention, or trying to avoid something, which we call escape maintained behavior, okay? And then there's the third category behaviorists look at, which is essentially ritualistic self-stimulatory behavior, which basically means it's some internal function, it's some intrinsic thing that's maintaining the behavior. Self-stimulatory behaviors are a good example of that. Why does a child engage in looking at a ceiling fan for hours, or why do they do this? And there's some internal a consequence that is satisfying enough that the child will continue to do this. It's a whole different discussion. But when we look at challenging behaviors, once you have identified, is my child trying to gain something or avoid something, that gives you the ability to replace that challenging behavior with the appropriate communication to make the same thing happen. So if I'm trying to gain something, instead of hitting you, can I say, give me that toy? Can I say just toy? Can I point to an icon that says, I want the toy? And then I get it. But I won't get it if I hit you, right? Or if I am biting you because you just asked me to do something and I'm trying to avoid it, can I just ask for a timeout, or can I ask for a break instead of biting you? Because when I bite you, you won't give me a break. But when I give you an icon for a break, or I say all done, then you do give me a break. So that's really, really important. That's the kind of key to challenging behavior. A lot of times people overcomplicate this and try to figure out how it doesn't make sense to me. It's always just find out, is your child trying to gain access to something or avoid something? And how can I teach them to do that in a more adaptive way and give them everything they want when they do it in that more adaptive, appropriate way, but not allow them to get the result they wanted when they act out. Yeah. That's the key to everything, you know?
Don't forget, you can watch Ask Dr. Doreen live every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. We hope to see you there.